Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt here with Alyx King and Daniel Mangina. Today is Tuesday, February the 25th, 2020. It's 4 p.m. New York time. And wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And we're happy to be back to full strength because Alyx is back here on Tuesday and smiling. She's got her unicorn headphones on, so we know she's all ready to go. What does the t-shirt say? Feed me and tell what?
Tell me I'm pretty.
Tell me I'm pretty. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, that's good dating advice.
Yes, strict instructions. I wear them on all first dates.
Especially when you have a chef or a fiance.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good
like
stuff.
Triple facts.
And Daniel is absolutely beaming because he just got back from some time on the beach. And I mean, what could be worse than that? I mean, that's just like really rough, you know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah. My friend is a health coach, and he recommends getting out to get some sunshine between 12 and 2 every day because it's like get some good vitamin D. So I've been combining that with doing some grounding, whether it's on grass or on the sand, and getting some ions and whatnot. So I did some breath work on the beach, took some break, took some energy in, did a couple of Facebook Lives, and feel good.
Very nice.
Nice.
Today, my day has been more sitting in front of computers and doing work, but it's been good because I've talked about this a lot on the show lately, but sometimes it's been a struggle trying to get myself into that higher vibration space and stay there. And today, despite the fact that I ran into the usual number of roadblocks, I've been in a pretty good space today. So I feel like it's a victory. I feel like I'm doing well. And if I can keep that going, this project may actually get completed. I mean, that would be really good to get the project done because then I don't have to do it anymore. But
that's
that's
part of the
project.
Right, it's the finished product.
Oh, yeah. Well, that actually the other best part, they say that the journey is the important thing. And where you're programming, the journey is about, can you have segments of time where you actually feel like you're making progress? If you can do that, it's actually fairly enjoyable. It's when you're constantly beating your head against, well, why doesn't this work? I'll try it this way. Well, that didn't work either. Well, I'll try it this way. Well, that didn't work either. That's when it starts to get frustrating. And that's where it's been kind of like a trial by fire. Can I keep myself in a good feeling place while running into all that stuff? So, you know, this is kind of like the boot camp version of LOA, you know, trying to, against adverse circumstances, seeing what you can do to stay positive. So that's what I've been doing, you know. And I even commented last week, I think it was either to you, Daniel, or to Linda, I had actually enjoyed one day of programming, which kind of blew my mind. I mean, I'm not used to enjoying it. So, yeah, that's what's going on. But anyway, we don't really have a clear topic in mind, although, Alyx, you came up with one before the show, and it's not one I don't think we've ever done that one. And we may have. I mean, after 7.5 years, you've kind of done almost all of them.
Yeah.
But I just don't recall doing a show where we talked about sacrifice. I mean, that was just really, where did that come from? Was that like inspired by something, or did that just come out of the thin blue, or?
Well, bro, like, okay, so here's what happened. I'm on Facebook, right? And I'm, going through Facebook as I usually do. And then I saw somebody posted about aliens. So then I was like, maybe that should be a topic today. And then I just kept seeing stuff that should be topics. And
how does the law of attraction correlate with aliens?
You know what? I just bring it to Walt and he figures it out. I never know where it's gonna go. I just say, you know what? What's today's subject? And I grab something out of the air and Walt makes it work. That's what happens.
Okay.
It's true. And, Daniel, the way I'm able to do that is actually pretty simple. I just start with one very basic premise. The law of attraction touches everything in life. That means all topics are okay. You just have to find what the connection is. Yep. So,
that's the fun part.
What's the role that LOA plays? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Now, where sacrifice is concerned, we're going to be talking about some pretty obscure LOA, but nevertheless, it's there.
I kind of want to see where you get to with aliens now. I really would love to see how that happens.
Well, I can do that one that's pretty straightforward. I mean, there are a lot of people who are really interested in the idea of aliens. They read about them, they write about them, they blog about them, they join Facebook groups about them. When you focus that much, you're going to be doing some attracting.
Because
You know,
me and my friend Faith have a thing about aliens. This is, in fact, the reason why I believe that we have such a deep and beautiful friendship is because the very first time we met in person, she just said, by the way, I can only be friends with you if you get down with the aliens. Do you get down with the aliens?
Nice.
This was like within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we've been speaking for like months because we basically met in we were on the same consulting program and we got on really well and we're just knocking ideas back and forth. And I happened to be in that part of California. I'm like, hey, do you live near here? She's like, hell yeah, I live near here. I'm like, let's get a hot chocolate. Yeah, let's do it. And it was meant to just be getting quick hot chocolate and just meeting someone that you know from internet world. And we ended up spending the entire day speaking about everything, including many things alien. And so I'm wondering if I've called in a conversation about aliens today.
Of course you did.
Is there doubt?
You tell me. You tell me.
Well, you're the one who raised the question, so
I'd love to leave this in Walt's good hands. Aliens, LOA, let's do it.
It's really straightforward. I mean, you clearly did attract the conversation. I mean, like attracts like. That's the fundamental foundation of the law of attraction. When you focus on something, you get more of that something or something similar to it. Or as Louis de Souza says, that or something better. I mean, and from what it sounds like, you ended up with on a day where everything was something better. You start off with like a 15-minute hot chocolate meeting or coffee or whatever, and it turned into an all-day conversation, including aliens. You know, so you know you got to something better too. I mean, that's why I say, where's the doubt about this? This is pretty straightforward.
There is no doubt.
This is not the doubt you're looking for.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Now, sacrifice, that was a tougher one.
Yeah.
Tying that one into law of attraction, because sacrifice is about giving something up. And it's not that we can't tie it together. I think we can. But we're going to get very much into the realm of negation. And we all know just how confusing negation can be, particularly if you're trying to be a deliberate creator, because when you focus on negating, you get more negating. You don't actually get the thing you want. You end up with a lot of lack. And so on the other side of the coin, we're going to also, I'm sure, be touching at some point on the fact that some people very much believe in sacrifice, self-sacrifice. And for them, that's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, okay, clearly they're going to be attracting more sacrifice into their life because that's what they focus on. Okay. But is it what they like? That to me is the interesting question. So often we focus on stuff we don't like. We get a lot of what we don't like. Isn't that amazing? But one of the things I've been learning over the last year, especially talking to folks like you here on the show, is the realization that just because I don't like something doesn't mean somebody else won't like it either.
Right.
They could like it, you know? And so I have to kind of start with a supposition. People who believe in self-sacrifice, do they really like it? They may actually like it.
They may, because they may feel a sense of being needed.
Is like really the question though? Or is it about subconscious desire? Because I think when we start using the word like, people start thinking about what they consciously desire versus what they're calling in because they desire it at a subconscious level.
Okay. I mean, to me, that's semantics because liking happens both consciously and subconsciously as far as I'm concerned. But okay, I can buy into that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that people might not like it consciously.
Sure.
But they're still calling it subconscious. Yeah.
They're calling it in because the mind doesn't lose. The subconscious mind is moving at 10,000 to 10 million times the speed of the conscious mind and always gets what it wants. And what it wants is what it's been told to want.
Well, kind of what you're touching on there is the phenomenon known as addictive behavior.
Yes, I call that addiction.
Right?
Wow.
But, but it's a desire happening from a subconscious level.
Because if you ask somebody consciously about would they like to be addicted to this thing they're addicted to, maybe 8-9 times out of 10 they're going to say no, but on a subconscious level clearly they are going to keep focusing on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that goes to your point. So you're right, that's a big piece of it. I still come back to the same question though. If you like sacrifice, what do you like about it? And I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I think I have to ask somebody who's actually into self-sacrifice who thinks self-sacrifice is a really great idea.
Oh, that's not me. I'm totally selfish. Yeah. Realize this the other day, exactly how selfish I am. I had my fiance's nieces over and they were looking for snacks and I had birthday cake ice cream sandwiches and those are limited edition. And I said to myself, looking in the freezer, these are my ice cream sandwiches. And right then and there, I was like, I am too selfish to have kids. And then, but I did buy them Oreos. So they had Oreos. So they already had snacks. They just wanted my snacks. That was the thing. So yeah, I'm very selfish.
I don't think you're going to have any trouble having kids. You just learned the first rule of how to mess up your kids, and that is to buy them off.
Mm.
That's true. That's true. But at the same
time,
no, it's mine. Like, this is mine. My nap time is mine. Like, I just don't have, no, I can't do kids.
So can we then assume that you and Kenny are not going to be raising little ones?
Oh no, we have a lot of little ones, but they're fur babies, and that's good enough for us.
Okay.
Kenny already has a 15-year-old, so insert daughter here. That works for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then they're done. That is basically where he's coming from.
Yep. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I come from never wanted to, so that works for us.
Do you know what's really funny? I've always been like neutral. Mm-hmm. Annoyingly, for some people, annoyingly neutral because I don't make the decision for them. But I've always been like, I've been in a relationship with people that I want 10 kids. I'm like, all right, cool. I want 2. All right, cool. I don't want any. All right,
cool.
I'm really neutral. I've got another new nephew now. I think I've got 14 nephews and nieces.
Woo!
So
yeah.
And my nephews and nieces are having kids now because my oldest niece is 25. My oldest nephew is 27. He's got a 6-year-old son.
Wow.
It's like, I can give them back.
Right. That's how I feel. Fill them up with candy and give them back.
I've got a goddaughter. I've got a godson. Could give them back.
Yeah.
but Olga's got a 4-year-old. So
yeah.
But my situation's a bit different because her dad is very, very active in her life. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel that I'm like a fully formed stepdad.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like extra mum part.
Yeah. We, in our family, we call it bonus parent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say, so I draw a very, very fine line because she's already got a lot of inputs. She's got her mum. Yeah. She's got her dad, her dad's partner, her dad's mum, her paternal grandmother is very, very hands-on as well. Mm-hmm. She's born and raised in America, Russian parents, very, very pro-Russian grandma that speaks to her in Russian. Dad speaks, like she's got all this stuff going on. I'm like, I just gotta call you my little friend. And I'm gonna I give some support. There was some discipline missing that I kind of threw in the mix. So, and we've got a really good level of respect and good level of camaraderie. And I feel kind of cool with that.
Well, you probably also provided a little stability for her because with all that input coming in, you're basically taking the position, hey, it's not my job to give you input. That's almost like an island of sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to do some coloring again? Do you want to go to the swimming baths? Do you want to go to the
exactly?
Go to the playground, dude? Let's go to the store. Let's go to the store. Yeah.
Yeah.
me and you. It was really funny. I got this beautiful little piece of artwork, this little clay artwork with 3 hearts on it. Because there's a thing down here in Cabo every Thursday called Art Walk, where they do like all the galleries open up in the evening down in San Jose and everyone opens up and there's like a little party in the square. It's really cool. And I got this really cool piece of art and Olga took it back with her to New York and she showed it to Ariana. And Olga said, oh, this is Daniel, this is Mummy, and this is you. And Ariana said, no, this is Daniel, this is me, and this is baby.
Oh.
And then Olga said, no. And Ariana said, no, mummy, this is Daniel, this is me, and this is baby. And she was really, really adamant about it. And she wouldn't let her mum have the thing back. And her mum was like, what about me? No, this is Daniel, this is me, and this is baby. And I was like, okay, dude. Interesting.
Yeah. Out of the mouths of babes.
And I was like, okay.
And how do you feel about that?
I find it very interesting because I feel that babies are very, very, very tuned in.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think, I mean, I'm of the firm belief that souls are always looking for the next host to incarnate and pop out through. And so I think that kids can see stuff. I think they haven't been polluted by life yet. And maybe she saw like a little baby soul flying around. Okay. That's my thought.
I like that theory.
All right. I have no idea what to do with it, but it's fascinating.
I know what to do with it. LOA touches everything.
Touches everything, yes. Well, just because it touches something doesn't mean I know what to say about it. Just
That's
okay,
true.
it touches. There it is.
That's true. It's very rare when Walt is speechless, but it does happen.
Oh, yeah.
From time to time, it don't happen.
So let's tie back to this parenting thing combined with sacrifice, because that's where we find a lot of people who will talk about, yes, I have to sacrifice a lot for my kids.
Right.
That's where sacrifice plays a big role in a lot of people's lives. And none of us have kids. So I guess we're kind of not qualified in some people's minds to talk about it. But on the other hand, we all made the conscious decision. Well, Daniel seems to be kind of nebulous about it. But the two of us, Alyx, you and I made the conscious decision not to be parents. Right. Which gives us a kind of a perspective on the whole thing, too, that I think is actually somewhat equivalent, because we said no. And here's the interesting thing. Daniel, you said that you're okay either way. I was kind of okay with it either way, too. Really, the only reason we don't have kids is Louise didn't want to have kids. And because she didn't want to have them, I didn't want to have them.
Right.
Because another thing in common, Mr. Walt, law of attraction.
There you go. Yeah. But for somebody who is a parent, and I've dealt with plenty of parents, I've dealt with plenty of kids, too. I mean, when you open a school, that you do deal with people on that level quite a bit. And Louise and I did that. When you're dealing with parents and they're being challenged in some ways about their relationship with their kids and what's happening with their kids, and taking some responsibility for the influence that they have on their kids and all that kind of thing, that's where you get a lot of the conversation and a lot of the claims about, well, you have to sacrifice for your kids. And I won't try to be like, I won't try to tell their story, because I don't think that's really right for me to do, but I think you guys have heard the same kind of thing. So I'm curious to know, first of all, what's your take on the idea that parents have to sacrifice for their kids? Let's start there before we even go to the second part. Just start there. Do you think it's important for parents to sacrifice for their kids?
I think it's a mindset. Like, some people may see it as sacrifice. Some people may see it as parenting. And that's because I feel like, as my mom probably did sacrifice for a lot for all of us, but she doesn't see it as sacrifice.
Yeah,
the way you see the world is the way you see the world.
Right.
Yeah. So one person's sacrifice could be another person's investment.
Yeah.
Or another person's victim story. Not your mum, but I'm just saying another person's victim story.
Very true.
Like they find, and I had this with someone I know who fell pregnant. The father of the child didn't want to be a father of a child. I don't care. I'm going to do this by myself. I don't need you. Now we have a lifelong victim story. I've given so much for you. Blah, 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 blah. How you see the world is how you see the world.
Facts.
Mm.
By the
But do
way,
you know what?
the way you did that just now, when you kind of sat away from your microphone and went blah blah blah, you actually sounded like the teacher on the Charlie Brown cartoons. Wah 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 wah.
Let's pinpoint that for later. But then you got like people. You got people like, is it the basketball player Steve Curry? I think him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there all this uproar because they were like, we put ourselves first before the kids? There was like this.
I don't remember hearing this.
Yeah, I think it was them, and like there was this whole thing. It was like, "You're not a good mum. How can you say that?" And she's like, "Well, when you guys' marriage falls apart because you've been sacrificing yourself for the kids, and then you've got no marriage, and then the kids haven't got a home, we'll see who wins." So they said, "No, we put ourselves first. We put us and our needs first, our relationship first, and then from our overflow, we feed our kids, and that actually means that they've got more."
I agree with that, because it's like the same thing when you're in a relationship. You have to love yourself first and have self-love and all that in order to be able to give love. So I totally agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, I agree with it too. And once again, I think of that same analogy that's been coming up a lot on the show lately, because I guess it's because I keep summoning it, but it's the analogy of what the flight attendant tells you at the beginning of the trip. You know, in the event of an emergency, you'll get oxygen masks. Put the mask on your own face before you put one on your kid.
Yeah. If you don't have any oxygen, you can't put the mask on your kid.
It's pretty much it. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, I think there's a nice indicator there, a helpful indicator, I should say, for somebody who says, "Oh no, your kid should come first." There's an indicator there of what's going on in that person's life. They're basically working without an oxygen mask.
Yeah.
Which is a tough way to go.
We're all getting our stories back, though, right? So that's just one way that they're getting their story back. And everything in our life becomes an opportunity for us to play out our patterns and to keep getting what we're calling in. Everything becomes a road to get where we're going. And I think, I guess sometimes for some people, the kid is a road to getting that payoff of seeking validation through an outside party, having a little toy to dress up.
Yep. Living vicariously through them.
Yep, living vicariously, fulfilling those unfilled needs. I didn't get to be a sports kid, or blah blah blah, and all this stuff.
Yep. So now you're going to play all the sports.
Yeah, all of the things.
Yep.
And some people just reckon. I mean, my own stance, were I to ever have small humans, is my role is to give them structure within which they can have an experience of life.
Yeah.
And to ensure that I do my part to live as an example and to create an environment that's conducive to them learning frequencies that add to the world and don't take away from it. And other than that, fair game.
Okay, interesting, because I can see a potential conversation here. So when you say that you see your job, if you were to be taking care of little ones, your job would be to provide a structure for them to live within. What would that structure look like?
Understanding the laws of the universe would be a very important one for me. Understanding that their world is responding to who they are, teaching them to be discerning in their choices, and teaching them to listen to their intuition, and teaching them to have a relationship with the universe. Those are the core things I would teach small human.
Nice.
Other than that, at the end of the day, they're going to spend a lot more time with their peers as teenagers. So between the ages of 2 and 7, teaching them boundaries, to question, and to live in the heart. I think if they've got those tools, they're going to have a pretty decent experience. Really.
That's an interesting form of structure, because when you said the word structure, that has certain meaning in my head.
Yeah.
From what people have said to me in the past.
Right.
And I've
so
always.
You were expecting. What were you expecting?
I don't know what to expect, because this is you on an LOA show. So I mean, I have learned from all of my co-hosts, don't assume they're going to behave like, quote, normal people, unquote. They're going to behave like extraordinary people. So don't make any assumptions about that.
Right.
But dealing with, quote, normal people, with the person that you typically find out there, and of course there's no one typical kind of person, but we've all kind of run into people who have certain characteristics that are very predominant. A lot of people have the same kinds of characteristics. And I think that's particularly true with parents. Parents, you run into a lot of people who believe in creating structure for their kids to the point of suffocation, to the point of, hamstringing them. And so when I heard that word structure, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about, well, there are some people who are going to take that structure thing to a pretty far extreme, and there are other people who are going to have a very lax idea of what structure is, and there's going to be everything in between. So that's why I was curious, what you were going to say.
Yeah.
And I like what you said. I agree with you. I think it's definitely the best kind of structure.
I mean, at the end of the day, I've got a very extreme relationship to my view of life and reality that seems to be getting more extreme every day, leading to ever more deep existential crises on a very regular basis. But it's like, for me,
you extremist, you.
For me, that even the experience of the witnessing of children is a reflection of where I'm at anyway. So what I witness in my world, including any progeny that I would have or have the honor of shepherding in any way, shape, or form, is going to be a reflection of where I'm at inside. And so it's self-work that's going to be reflected in what I'm witnessing the child, not in trying to form this external thing that is just a reflection of what's happening inside of me anyway.
One of the things that I learned from helping to found this alternative school that Louise and I founded back in 2001 with a small group of adults in this local area here was I learned just how good kids are at creating their own structure. Believe it or not, my belief about structure for kids is I don't really need to create one. If I had my own kids, I wouldn't be trying to create a structure for them, because actually kids, coming out the chute and starting their lives, they already have a sense.
Out the chute. Literally. So
hashtag out the chute.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's got to go on the list. I've heard of Downisms, but this is definitely a Waltism.
I should have known that was not going to just slide by.
Nope.
But anyway, kids right from the moment they're born are basically creating their own structure, except when their parents start imposing their own structure on the kids. And that's where the challenges come into it, to put it nicely. But kids will actually create their own structure because they're trying to piece together how this world works from the physical perspective. Like you were pointing out, Daniel, they already have a pretty good connection to the non-physical. They were just there, So, and it takes a while before that connection kind of disappears and fades away into the mist. But because of that, we all know how active, particularly a toddler is. They're just constant balls of energy until they fall over and go to sleep and then wake up and go do it again.
Right.
That's it. And all they're doing is they're learning how their world works. That's their entire job, is to do that. And they do it.
They're learning machines.
Yeah, really. Well, you don't really have to teach a kid like that structure. They're learning it as they go.
Yeah.
So I don't really worry about structure when it comes to a kid. In fact, actually, I kind of shy away from it because I figure the moment that I'm bringing structure in is the moment that I could be messing up the path that they know for themselves, because kids really do know their own path. They may not be able to verbalize it to us, but it's pretty clear. If you can sit back and not be a parent and kind of watch them, boy, oh boy, they have so much to teach us about how to create the best path for oneself. They do it beautifully.
I say definitely, then the discernment on the back of that, the discernment I think still sits as quite an important one to have locked in. Discernment by way of example, not discernment by way of instruction, but by way of example.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, I've often thought about what would it have been like if Louise and I had kids. And how would we? I think we would have been excellent parents, to be honest. But then again, I suspect most people probably think that themselves too. So I'm not sure what that really means. But
I thought you meant most people would say that about you guys.
I know, right?
No, most people would say that about. Well, I don't know, maybe they would.
I agree. Yeah, everyone that knows you guys is going to say that.
Everyone thinks we'd be great parents.
Okay.
I think most people think they're going to be great parents when they become parents.
Just throw away the accolades.
Right.
Well, all right, okay. It's hard to take credit for something that I haven't actually done. So
yeah.
So cut me a little slack on that one.
All right. I'll let you off this time.
This time? Oh, okay.
But next time.
Uh-oh. This is going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But getting back to my point, yeah, I mean, I think about this whole thing about what would happen with kids if I were the parent. And I think I basically have one overall rule, not for the kid, but for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That rule would be to try not to do anything to impose my way of thinking on the kid and simply wait until the kid asks me something, which you can pretty well bet the kid is going to ask you something. Unless you have a really horrible relationship. I mean, you'll actually be lucky if you get through a day without being asked 55 questions.
Oh, facts.
More like 155 questions.
Yeah,
seriously.
Right.
Oh,
definitely.
man.
Quick tangent life hack, by the way.
Okay.
When kids ask you questions, ask them a question right back.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I learned that quickly.
Yeah. Don't answer them. Teach them to process by asking the question right back. And we're back.
and there are also times later on, particularly when the kids get up to like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, where they've learned that game. They understand that game. Mm-hmm. And so they start becoming insistent, demanding an answer. And it can be really challenging because you want to be the person who knows this information. You want to be able to give them the information. But like you say, Daniel, the better thing is to actually kind of hold it back and say, well, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do this?
But even the way that they respond to them catching on is going to be dependent on the experience that they have of you in how you would respond to it, because they learn by example more than instruction.
That's true.
So if they've been taught that when you're not getting your own way, just demand and demand and demand until it works, and that's what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it works.
Yeah. That's why I never caved to terrorists.
Yes, exactly. My mom was the same way. She all the questions we asked growing up, she would always say, well, open a dictionary, look it up. You know, if she didn't know, or if she just wanted us to know on our own. And now to this day, we're all in our 30s and she still says, Google it. So
yeah, my mom would say, what would Jesus say? What does the Bible say about this?
And in the age of electronic devices, you really don't have any excuse anymore. I mean, it's so easy to go look things up. Yeah.
No,
and she even went as far as like it's a common joke in our family, and now so she got me a mug that says, I don't need Google, I have my mom.
Ah.
Okay.
But
I was like, but you make me Google. What are you talking about? This mug is false.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. You wash it. It's a lie. But back to what we were talking about, again, with my mother, I was raised with both parents in the home up until the age of probably 14, and then they separated. So I had both sides of parenting because my mom decided, well, I'm gonna do my parenting, he's gonna do his parenting. Oh, so boy. I had the side of the parenting with the okay, so my sports career didn't work out, so guess what? You're gonna do all the sports. And then my mom was like, you can do whatever you want as long as you have a backup plan in case that don't work. So I had the experience of both, and then it was like, okay, I'm going to try this. I didn't like it, but I did try it. And then here's my backup plan because it didn't go with your plan. So it all worked itself out.
All right. Well, hey, you know, if it works, it works. That's the main thing.
But it also depends on the child too, because there's three of us and we all turned out differently, but raised by the same two parents.
Well, you're touching on the fact that we're all individuals and we all have different perspectives and we have different choices and different preferences and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
That's where one size fits all really doesn't actually fit all.
One side fails to fit all.
Yeah.
Sad times.
All right. Well, I wasn't sure how we were going to get there, and I'm still not sure how we're going to get there, so I'm just going to take us there.
All right.
Because when we first broached the idea of talking about sacrifice, and I thought about the fact that parents are where we associate sacrifice more than almost anything else, really. I mean, people in the military, perhaps, people in government service, people in nonprofits, you know, that kind of thing would perhaps be advocates of sacrifice. But I think we're going to find it most often among parents and parenting. to me, the flip side of that is what we euphemistically here on the show call the old tapes, the things that play in our subconscious minds, usually to our detriment, usually in ways that prevent us from um, achieving that high vibration that we all talk about wanting to achieve, and we blame it on those tapes. And those tapes came from that self-sacrificing parent who was totally unappreciated.
Mm-hmm. I was in labor for 17 hours.
So I got to bring that side in and ask you guys, how does that inform your thought about your thoughts, I should say, about sacrifice and self-sacrifice, particularly where parenting is concerned?
Interesting.
Well, the kid's going to be what they end up being. What they end up being is going to be a combination of their environment against a backdrop of whatever they came through with, which is the lens through which they see stuff anyway. And that cacophony of stuff shows up as a person. So you could argue that it comes down to the frame of reference of the observer. So for me, looking at that, I'd be like, well, it really just comes down to whoever's witnessing. So if it's the parent witnessing, that they're going to have their own version. And if it's a child witnessing, they're going to have their own version. And each one of their versions is really just going to be their internal environment reflected out in what they're experiencing.
As was clearly exhibited by the story of the little girl who said, no, that's me, that's the baby.
Yeah. I totally agree with what he's saying, because I'm going back another generation now, and I'm looking at how my grandmother parented, then my mother, how she parented out of spite, and then out of spite of how she was raised, and was like an amazing parent out of spite, but and then how I and then how I was raised. So it's like, you're right, there are different versions depending on who's telling the story. So it's like, now I see the two generations, and I'm like, okay, my grandmother wasn't the best parent, but she was there, I guess. And then my mother, again I say, out of spite, decided to be the best parent she could be, and nothing like her mother. So it all worked out in the end.
Those would create tapes that are so confusing that a therapist would say, I quit. I don't know what to do with that.
So in my reaction to both of those generations parenting, I decide that it's going to be what it's going to be. There's no predicting. You can do as much, you give as much structure as you want, but it's going to be what it's going to be, because we're here to experience something, and nobody knows what it is until we're done. So. And
I think that's where, again, the law of attraction comes in. Because what it's going to be is, for each party is going to have an experience of reality based on who they are and what their frequency is. And so people that try to fight matter with matter and make something happen on a material level, but are ignoring the rest of the playing field, are probably going to be frustrated by what they experience. I've told you 1,000,000 times. Yeah, but your frequency and the environment you've cultivated by your frequency is a child that doesn't listen to what you say. You're calling in an experience of having battle instead of a harmonious relationship in your home. And that's being experienced in this instance as your child not listening to you.
Right.
And whenever I hear that phrase, I told him 1,000,000 times, or I told her 1,000,000 times, or I told you 1,000,000 times, the first thought that goes through my mind is, you're insane. And the reason I say that is, insanity is repeating the same action over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah. Oh my God. Facts. Big facts. That's a pet peeve of mine, having to repeat myself. Oh, it drives me nuts.
To repeat what?
You know what, Walt? I purposely don't do it. I
found that hilarious. I'm sorry, Alyx.
No, it's totally hilarious. But no, I purposely don't do it. So now you just missed out if you weren't paying attention to this. Sorry, not sorry. Catch me in the hashtags. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so let's go back to Daniel's idea of structure, because I liked it. I think it's worth exploring, because one of the questions I've liked to ask in the past on the show, and I like to ask it here now because I still like it. What happens when you have a whole society of people who raise their kids the way Daniel's talking about. Now, this is
You have
very
the new Earth.
speculative.
You have the new Earth.
So expand on that. Tell us what the new Earth looks like.
Well, if you've got an entire society of children that have been trained to live in the heart, to be connected to the divine, that their internal environment creates their world, and that's the frequency that they've been taught to live on, then if everyone's in the heart, then you've got a completely coherent society. You've got a generation of coherence. That's what Eckhart Tolle is really talking about in the new Earth, no?
So are we talking about abundance, mental health, and basically life, the universe, and everything all working out?
Well, abundance is a natural state. The lack of abundance, or the state of lack, is just falling into the illusion that there isn't. And if we're living in the heart and connected to the universe and to divine and connected to source and manifesting based on where we're at the moment, then all needs will be met, because you'd understand that the universe does take care of everything. It just fails to take care of everything when we let go of our connection. We shun and spurn the gift of all of our needs being met. So yeah.
Now, what if you're running into a kid who you do this with and the kid's resistant to the whole idea?
Nobody's trying to control them.
Yeah, that's his journey.
No one's trying to control the kid. And this is the whole point. It's not about controlling. It's about inviting them to connect to their natural state. We don't know what choice they've made at another level of consciousness about what they want to experience. But here's the thing. They would not be a vibrational match for that society, and therefore won't be able to exist in it anyway.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in some ways, I feel like I'm not a vibrational match for this society, but I somehow managed to exist anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about you turning into a pillar of dust and returning back to the quantum. I'm saying, like, you still are a match to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in it. Like, the people that are in your life right now are a match for you. That's your reality. It's what you're matching to. That's the law of attraction.
That's true.
There's contrast, yes, but contrast is an agreement that you can subscribe to or unsubscribe to. But contrast adds to the experience of life. And so we're encouraged by pretty much everyone that connects to infinite intelligence to embrace contrast. But it's not a necessity, and it's not a prerequisite, because there are no prerequisites. If there are prerequisites, we wouldn't have infinite possibility and free will. And so I think when we're talking about a generation of kids that are operating at that level, then that society holding that frequency people would only be in that. Maybe people would argue and make a lot of noise on the way out, but they definitely would be out. They wouldn't be there. They wouldn't live in that society because there'd be no space for them. And if they did, they would have to shift. Or the quantum version of them that matches that is what the people in the society would witness. But that's a more philosophical exploration.
Yeah,
that's where brain cells and neurons start falling apart. But what I'm thinking about right now is whenever there's a resistance that goes on, because you're right. I mean, right now, if I look at society, we are a society full of people who love contrast. They may not actually say that consciously. I'm sure they don't, because most of them don't know law of attraction, even, let alone what it is they're paying attention to. But clearly, I mean, you look at the culture, west, east, north, south, I don't care what part of the planet you're on, the culture is dominated by contrast in a huge way. And it's not like people are shying away saying, no, thank you.
But so, do you know what? I would even put in, for them, the contrast is the upswing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's exactly what happened.
The brightest part of my day.
I just had a good day. I just smiled inside. I was happy for a moment and at peace. Contrast.
And there are huge numbers of people who just stay over on the other side of the contrast that they don't like so much, but they seem to like that.
And that's okay, because guess what? And again, this is like my extreme look at reality and shape, more the hologram theory. You witnessing that means that you're connected to it. Yeah. Because there's a quantum version of them that isn't experiencing that, and you missed part of that because you weren't aligned to it. Okay. You can really play at the edge of consciousness with this one. We're all fleeting in and out of from energy to matter, matching whatever version of the now our frequency, the frequency of our consciousness aligns with. And that's when you see instant transformation in people's personalities or in their approaches, or when someone turns around and says, I'm sorry, or, you know, facts flip on their head.
Yeah.
I think that all happens because we're fleeting in and out of alignment to different quantum potentials that match who we're at. And when we change who we are, that shift occurs.
So going back to our first topic, which was people who believe in self-sacrifice or believe in sacrifice in general, self or otherwise, I feel like I have a better sense now of where they're coming from. I can't say I identify with it because I don't, but looking at the way you just described, okay, well, they're getting something out of it. They're getting something of value to them out of this mentality of sacrifice. To them, it's the way to live. Why wouldn't everybody want to live that way? I mean, that's probably part of their perspective.
And I've got another level that might bake your noodle a little bit.
Okay.
You witnessing it is what's of use to you.
That's true.
So you're enjoying a lesson vicariously through them having that you're witnessing as them being selfish. Or sacrificing, sorry.
Or as Louis D'Souza was pointing out over and over yesterday, it's part of the process of discovering the power in recognizing I don't like that.
Yeah, I was there. I was live yesterday.
You were tuned in. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. What I've done is, do you know what I did? Well, I've actually blocked it out every day. So as often as possible, I'll be able to get on and listen live.
Okay.
Fantastic. In fact, I'll even extend the invitation. I've already extended it to Alyx. I've extended it to others. Jump on the platform sometime if you want to, when it's not your day.
No. I want to listen. I don't.
Well,
I just want to listen.
You can listen.
Listen to the conversation.
Yes, I agree.
We have hundreds of people who listen. I love the fact that you're one of them. I'm just saying, feel free to jump on the extra level.
Appreciate it.
Just opening up the possibilities. The world of
Appreciate it. Yeah, I was just like, I get some snips of shows and I listen to them sometimes on the Apple podcast, because I've not been as much of a consumer of media in the past, but I've been making more of a commitment to be more of a consumer and learn more that way. And I was like, I know this is really good. Why is this not on my daily consumption list?
I think everyone asked that question at first.
Yeah, and Walt's always telling, oh, and this happened and that happened, and Cindy said this and that happened. I was like, why am I not listening to this live? I put it on, like yesterday I was doing some work and I just had it on the background. I was like, okay, yeah, a few notes. I'll make a note about that. I can do that.
I think you just gave a nice seminar on how to listen to LOA Today.
Yeah. Make some notes, because there's always going to be stuff to make notes about, and just let us know you're listening.
Well, I better use it as a segue then and do the promos, because I mean, there's no better time to do it. So if you're not yet a subscriber, well, Daniel just gave you the best reason why to do it, because you can tie it into your day and listen to it while you're doing your other stuff and get stuff out of it. And like he's saying, every day is different. Every conversation is different. And it's very easy to subscribe. Just go to the homepage of our website, loatoday.net, and click at the top, click, and just like that, you're done. You're subscribed. Everything's coming right to your device. And you can also check us out on YouTube. That's where we can actually come into your face and you can see, like Alex's unicorn headset and so forth, and her purple hair, which is looking luscious today. I mean, it's just lustering today.
I know. New conditioner.
Is it a conditioner? I wasn't sure if it's lighting or what, but yeah, it's just like glowing.
Oh, it's all the things. It's all the things.
Well, I know you plan it very carefully, but
son las todos.
But Alyx, why don't you take a little frame time here and tell people how to be subscribers on YouTube?
Okay, so what you want to do is go to YouTube, search LOA Today podcast videos. And once you see our smiling faces, you can click down below at the red subscribe button. Next to the red subscribe button, there is a little silver bell. Click that silver bell and make sure you click all so you will always be notified when we are live.
And there it is. So yeah, subscribe and enjoy and share and let other people know about it, because people do lurk and then they become subscribers and then they're subscribers for life. You will tune in. It's that simple.
This is the podcast that you're looking for.
Right.
I love it.
Oh, man.
Just like relaxation going on from that. It feels so good.
Yeah. It's a nice wind down to the end of the day. A lot of my friends like to listen on as they're driving home from work. Hi, guys.
I'll tell you what, back when we had like 20 episode listeners per month,
right. When we were doing it 20 times a week.
Well, actually, then we had quite a bit more. I'm talking about like when Joel first joined me,
Okay.
and we had really, really, really small numbers. That was one of the things Joel and I would talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We would talk about, well, isn't it going to be great one of these days when we can actually do this as a drive time show and people are tuned in while they're driving home, and you just emphasize that people are already doing it. I'm saying, yes, another goal achieved. I love it. Because I always thought that would be the best thing, and actually the next step for me on that is, and somehow we've never really gotten there on a regular basis, would be to make it a call-in show. So people are driving home and then they can call in, and it's the way the technology is these days, that's tricky. You can't just, easy one click. I think it's going to mean at some point I'll have to create an app so that people can just listen to us on the app and then push a button.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be something like that. But then that starts to get really fun.
Yeah.
I love thoughts like, maybe I'm just going to just create an app and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Just all nonchalantly like, this is another app I have to create. I'll be back in a minute.
Well, that's the thing. When you learn how to do an app, when you learn how to create it, the first time is what I'm going through right now. It's a bear. It's awful trying to learn it. But once you've learned it, you know how to do it.
Are you going to enjoy making apps after?
No, I don't think I'm going to make it like a career or anything like that.
Oh, that's a shame. I needed some apps, and I was interviewing. No, I was interviewing people, but I would have given it to you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's not really what I want to spend a lot of my time doing.
Thanks, but no thanks. This is not the program you're looking for.
It's like, I want to be able to do one for what I'm doing right now. I'd like to be able to do another one for LOA today and then retire.
Yeah. All right, cool.
That's it. That's the end of my app career.
Two-hit wonder.
Two-hit wonder.
A two-hit wonder. That's right. Not even one hit.
Pow.
Yep. Done. Yeah, but the thing is, I just keep thinking about that. Wouldn't it be great to have the call-ins like that? So that's going to lead to another promo. I have to do one more promo before we're done, because tomorrow, Cindy Chavez and I are kind of shifting gears. We've been doing the Neville Goddard for the last year and a half. We calculated out a year and a half of Neville Goddard. Went through 9 books, page by page. It was intense, but we loved it, and it was great. But now that we finished that, we were saying, well, what do we do next? And we decided, well, Cindy's a relationship coach. So why not do relationships? So the promo message is, anyone who's tuning in who'd like to have Cindy address something about a relationship issue, send that in to us and we will include it on the show. So here you are. You've been given, forewarning. Okay, this is what we're going to be talking about. So if you want your topic brought up, this is the time to do it. So send in your message. Do it by Facebook or tweet something to us, or send me an email. Email is walt@elevatoday.net. Go to the website, fill in the contact form, whatever. Just get the message to us and we'll include you. So, let us know, because, hey, we love it. We love it whenever we get contact, first of all, from listeners. I think largely because like 99% of the time, they're positive contacts. Very rarely do we get somebody saying, oh, geez, we really don't like that happening over there. That's pretty unusual.
No.
Even the ones we don't prefer, give us some sort of structure. You know what I mean?
Do.
Yeah. So it all works out in the end.
It has all worked out beautifully, but it's so fun to hear from a listener.
Yeah. So voice your opinion either way.
Absolutely. I mean, I track the numbers every month to find out where we're at. And right now we're averaging around 550 listeners per episode. And that's cool, but it's a number.
Yeah.
But when you get a contact from somebody, it's a real person who has real things going on in their lives. It makes it all that much more cool.
I probably almost cried twice with emails that have been sent in.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. Because you're reaching people. You're reaching people.
Exactly. It makes it feels good right here.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, Daniel's into it. So end of promo, but please do send in your comments and questions about what you'd like to have us discuss. Cindy and I discuss on Wednesday about relationships, and we will include it. So, okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. I don't even know how to summarize this one, other than we took a very difficult topic And we actually did tie it to the law of attraction, but I have to go to the judges on this. So Daniel, you were wondering, could I do this? Have I done this successfully?
Oh, I knew you could do this one. It was the aliens one. I was like, how's that going to work?
Well,
this one I was fine. I got it. When the aliens, I was like, wait. We need to
well, how did I do on the aliens then? I got to ask you that.
I get it. I do. I just, the law of attraction touches everything.
It does. It does.
Yeah, there's your domino. There's your domino response.
That's pretty much what it is. You push that one and they all fall down. All right. Well, then, Alyx, it's going to be incumbent upon you for the next show next Tuesday, provided we don't have a guest, and we could be having a guest next Tuesday. That's
okay. So I will have a backup subject.
But you're going to have to come up with something that actually tops sacrificing aliens.
Ooh, all right. Well, you know what? I will let the universe decide, and whatever comes to me, and then we will figure it out from there, like we do every week.
Ooh, there's a plan for you. See,
we'll get whatever lesson, whatever topic we are a vibrational match to next week.
That's
exactly.
It. That's it. Kind of hard to promote because you can't really say what it's going to be, but it will happen.
Yep.
Whatever
we'll be here. We can promote that. We'll be here.
Daniel's eyebrows will be going up and down. Daniel, anything going on in terms of webinars and so forth that you do? Any kind of special events going on that people need to know about?
Ooh, I did playing at the Edge of Consciousness. I did on Friday. That was fun. That was really fun. That's in my Dream with Dan group. People can go and catch that replay. I've actually been gearing up to do a launch of something exciting. A few people really wanted Micro to Millions, and even at like the founders rate, I did like a special offer on the founders rate for a little bit. But the investment is a bit too great, and so the people that wanted to move beyond the free but needed something a bit more accessible. And so I've created essentially a Micro to Millions Lite, a 6-week live Kickstarter masterclass that covers the basics and gets you from zero or even deep in debt to getting a positive net worth of 5 figures. So yeah, I've done that. It's going to be really reasonably priced.
Do we know when that's going to launch?
So basically, I get my new MacBook on the weekend. Julian flies down on the weekend, so I can literally wrap up the last of it and get the last of the emails and stuff done, because it's going to be like quite neatly structured, and I want to roll it every 6 weeks. So I do a live 6 week and then a live 6 week for at least once or twice, and then I'm going to pre-record it, and then the price will drop again. But in order to get the live one, I'm looking at something like $100 or $200. Like really reasonable. Maybe even have an option for people just to get the recorded and not have the live ones, just have the recorded for like $50 or something. So I'm working on that. Potentially in the next couple of weeks that'll be launched. So
this is one reason why people should be part of your group on Facebook, Dream with Dan, because they're going to get notifications about these things.
They'll get the notifications. You can all go to my website. There's a really cool video series I created called Becoming a Harmonious Money Magnet. You can go to my dreamwithdan.com. You get that and it'll put you on the email list, and then when it launches, you'll get access to that. But yeah, the people in the group will get a rate better than everyone else. They'll always get a special rate. So regardless of what it is, the people in the group are going to get a cheaper rate than everyone else. So
not only are you on top of the news, but you get a better rate. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's getting twice for the price of nothing.
Double. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Really excited about.
Yeah.
Because like I went through, I couldn't sleep last night, and I was going back through my the testimonials and stuff again, and just the wins that people have had over the last year I've been running that program. So I got really excited again about, I need to make sure I get this Kickstarter done, just so people are having fun with the money game. You know, people are having fun with some of the free content and doing the videos, but that there's just having that bridge between that and spending thousands of dollars on the program, just having something they can jump in and get them to a place where, because I think so many people, so many people, like they get into it and they realize, I don't want to be a millionaire. I'm not even interested in having hundreds of thousands. I just don't want to be in debt. I actually quite like my job. I like my life. I just wish I had it without the stress. Okay, and this will get you there. Or
Mhm.
I really just want to make sure that my IRA is like on my 401k has got something, so I'm not like poor.
Yeah.
Right. Or I just want to have some financial literacy, or I just want to understand why I can manifest everything except for money in my life. And that's what the program's for. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing that.
So anyone who has a 401k and is worried that they're going to be a 101k or a 01k, this is the program for them.
01k.
01A.
01A. Yeah. Good stuff. And we're kind of over, but Alyx, anything people need to know about in the world of entertainment?
Ooh, Dynasty had a really good episode last week. So if you and it's the new one, the new version, not the reboot, if you will, and not the old version, but it's just as good.
Okay, there we go. So thank you guys very much. Interesting conversation. We took a couple tough topics, turned them into something really good. So well done. Pat yourselves on the back. You did good. You did good there, guys. All right.
Some pats for you, Walt.
Okay, thank you. And we especially appreciate all of our listeners too, because without you, it wouldn't be a podcast. You guys make it all worthwhile. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.